Boundaries are a topic that we have to keep consistently talking about because some of us is challenging to establish boundaries in relationships, boundaries at work, saying no to different projects, saying no to friends, especially hard to say no to parents or create some boundaries with parents. This woman posted in the 2X chromosome subreddit, conservative father pushing his views. How do I draw the line? So she is having a hard time saying no or creating boundaries with her dad. She says, so this is something I've been dealing with for the past few years and needed to get this off my chest. My dad is very conservative, a hardcore Christian, pro Trump, and very anti abortion. I've had many conversations with him, but I'm just not able to get through to him. Lately, he's been going as far as to push me to conceive with my partner solely because it's what God made your body to naturally do. I wish I was joking when saying this, but these are his actual words. I've explained to him so many times that people choose to be child free and still live very happy lives. His argument: people grow to be lonely when they reach his age. My sister just had a baby with her long term partner, and he very well knows they are struggling to support themselves and their child. He argues that government assistance will help me with that, but I really don't think that's a valid reason to have a child because my body was made to carry a child. So he's saying it is perfectly fine for government assistance, and he's very conservative and a hardcore Christian. So I'm just putting that out there. Let's connect these dots. Conservative, but saying go ahead, have a baby, even if you don't have enough money to support yourself, because government assistance is there. It's very much like talking to a brick wall at this point, and I really don't know how to properly navigate this. I don't want to go as far as to cut him out of my life completely or go no contact, but I'm thinking it might be the right choice. It might be the right choice for the sake of my own mental sanity and well being. Does anyone else have conservative parents who are like this? If so, how do you handle it? She says, edit. Since some of you are asking in the comments, sorry, I forgot to include, I'm 28 and not married, but in a long term relationship. These people will say that they're Christian conservative, but then the values that they push are not particularly Christian and conservative. The fact that he wants his unmarried daughter to go off and have a baby that she can't support and get government assistance really tells me about his value system. Is not really rooted in conservatism, because you would think that these people would, want them to be self-sufficient and actually be married. Isn't that what Christian conservatives really think? They need to have babies within a marriage. This is very hypocritical. No rooting in conservatism. They are just literal MAGA voters. And no, I don't know how you maintain a relationship without without going very low contact, because he's going to keep pushing. And even if this wasn't a political thing, even if he wasn't hardcore Trumper, being one of those people that keeps trying to push people that don't want to have kids into having kids, that's enough to go no contact, because let people live their lives. Everybody does not want kids. Leave these child-free women alone. Let's look at some of these comments. She Who Is Never Broken says, you tell him this topic is not open for discussion. If you can't respect that, you will start seeing and hearing a lot less of me. My body is not a tool of the religious right. Hello Lovely says, yes, and cut him off if you need to. That is Handmaid's Tale level creepy. It would be one thing, still annoying, if he was like, I want to be a grandpa, but he sounds brainwashed. JT Lannister says, just cut him off. There's no salvaging them from the abyss they threw themselves in. I'm sorry for your loss. Shoulder No says, the cutting off might be the only thing at this point that could be a wake-up slap. Ginger Flake says, yeah, he may have kids, but if you cut him off for being a piece of he's about to get real lonely anyways. That's my point. People can have kids and be lonely if you suck as a parent and people don't want to talk to you. If you keep being pushy and pushing boundaries, that's going to make people cut you off. So you can have kids all you want, but you still have to be non-sucky as a person. This person could be good at making friends and creating communities. So she may actually have more friends as she grows older than this man who thinks that her body is up for him to discuss. Coconut Pie Crust says, also, the body is made to do and not do so many things. I bet dad is not an Adonis. I mean, his body was built for it. I like this comment from Houston Artsy, and this is one of the reasons why I choose to do these boundary conversations. She says boundaries are something we have to establish and enforce. It is so hard when we haven't been raised to practice this. I was raised to be a people pleaser and put others' needs ahead of my own. I was raised that I had to give reasons and explanations and justifications for me disagreeing, and I was always afraid to disappoint anyone. I've had to work hard to unlearn this pattern behavior. You can do this. It will feel really good to establish this boundary and enforce it. It will feel like a weight has been lifted off of you. If you start to feel guilty, write about it and examine why you're feeling this way. And if you are raised conservative, if you're raised Christian or religious of any sort, you are raised to put daddy higher than yourself. So you're supposed to honor your parents, and that means honoring their opinions and everything. So it is challenging to establish boundaries with these people, and you're just going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to practice saying, I do not want to have babies. You're going to have to practice it a few times before you get that confidence to be able to push back, because yeah, no, you're not going to don't have babies just to please somebody else. Being a people pleaser is one thing, but putting your body through the stress that it goes to create a baby, build that baby, and then take care of that baby, especially in the newborn stage, absolutely not. You're not going to do that simply because daddy said so. Mission Reasonable says, just the irony of a conservative saying you should have kids because government assistance will help. That's exactly what I said. Hello, Lo-Fi Panda says, for real. I was like, you mean all the SNAP, WIC, Head Start, CHIP, which is Medicaid programs they are actively cutting that help? Exactly. If you have been paying any attention to the news lately, they are literally cutting all the social safety nets for people who have kids and are low income. They're cutting things that help mothers go back to work. They're cutting things for impoverished folks. They're cutting school lunches. They do not want to help anybody. This is absolutely the wrong time to have babies. Even if you wanted one, it would be the absolute wrong time to have babies. Okay, this person with a bunch of numbers says, oh, they're all for government assistance for the right folk, aka the white folk. Everyone else is on their own. Sands vs. TV says, yeah, they neglect to note that the U.S. suffers from the highest maternal and infant mortality rates among high income countries. And if you're black, it's even higher. It's shameful, but of course, women's health nor that of the babies actually matters. And then she gives a link that's talking about maternal mortality amongst the industrialized countries. This is the article from last year. If you want to look it up, they have talked about it, and no telling if they're going to continue to do this type of research, considering they can't talk about women, they can't talk about black folks because that's too woke, that's too DEI. I'll end it with this screenshot. Bored Man says, dollars to donuts. He's listening to all the pro-natalist stuff that's trending in conservative media right now. And they probably view Trump's proposed one-time $5,000 baby bonus, which curiously is upon birth, but I thought fetuses were fully human, is enough to make an impact on the cost of raising a child as opposed to, say, subsidized childcare. Anyway, I'm hoping this one doesn't have staying power, and as soon as a new gay panic starts, he'll move on. And her name is Sony says, if you're uninsured, that $5,000 won't even make a dent in the cost of birthing the kid, let alone effing raising it. Mission Reasonable said, I had excellent insurance and the birth is still it still cost $12,000. $5,000 is absolutely nothing where it comes to making babies and raising children. Absolutely not. Those people really need to talk to some women about the cost of raising kids. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.